chaotic, ever-expanding universe of manga and anime. Few series manage to absolutely nail the combo of nightmare fuel and unhinged comedy, quite like Dandadan. Written and illustrated by Yukinobu Tatsu, this supernatural roller coaster doesn't just flirt with horror and humor, it goes full send on both. It delivers high-energy action, absurd levels of comedy, and straight-up eerie nightmare material in a way that feels ridiculously fresh. We're talking creepy yokai, vengeful spirits, and alien encounters so deranged they make conspiracy theorists look sane. Dandadan yeets its characters into the wildest, most unpredictable scenarios, and somehow, amidst all the chaos, it keeps its comedic timing immaculate. The jokes aren't just there to break the tension, they enhance the horror. One second you're clutching the page like it's a lifeline, the next you're cackling because a character just reacted like they walked into the world's worst group chat. The series delivers top-tier tonal whiplash, and honestly, we love to see it. So, what makes Dandadan stand out in a sea of horror comedy hybrids? Let's get into why its mix of scares and laughs just hits different. But before we proceed with this fascinating discussion, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell for more exclusive content coming from time to time. The perfect balance between terror and laughs. Horror and comedy, total opposites, right? Well, it doesn't really matter, because Dandadan yeets that idea straight into the void and mashes them together like an unhinged smoothie. This series doesn't just blend fear and laughter, it slams the gas pedal, and Tokyo drifts through both at full speed. From the beginning, you're thrown into a world where nightmare fuel monsters, creepy supernatural showdowns, and absolutely bonkers fight scenes come at you non-stop. But just when you think, oh cool, time to be traumatized, boom, someone hits you with the dumbest, most over-the-top reaction, or a joke so stupidly perfect that you can't breathe from laughing. One second, you're clutching your blanket, fully convinced you're about to get jump-scared into another dimension. And the next, you're dying at a facial expression so cursed, it deserves its own meme. The whiplash is real, but in the best way possible. This series is pure chaos, and honestly, you wouldn't have it any other way. Unpredictable and chaotic storytelling. Yukinobu Tatsu didn't just break the storytelling rulebook, he set it on fire and yeeted it into another dimension. Dandadan is straight-up chaos in the best way possible. A mind-melting cocktail of WTF moments, unhinged comedy, and visuals so wild they deserve their own seatbelt. Every chapter feels like getting drop-kicked into the unknown at 100 miles per hour. Ghosts creeping in the shadows, aliens crashing the party like they own the place. Moreover, the fight scenes so over the top. They make physics their personal punching bag. One second you're getting goosebumps from some eerie, paranormal horror, and the next, boom, you're in a supernatural street fight that looks like it belongs in a fever dream. And don't even get me started on the romance. What should be a normal, wholesome love story turns into interdimensional emotional warfare. It's pure, unfiltered chaos in the best way possible, and once you're in, there's no escaping the hype train. A unique take on supernatural entities. Ghosts and aliens don't just exist in Dandadan. They collide, clash, and coexist in ways that shatter every expectation. Instead of leaning into traditional horror or sci-fi tropes, the series forges its own offbeat path. It introduces a world where the supernatural and extraterrestrial aren't just scary or mysterious, but also hilariously absurd and unpredictably wild. It seamlessly blends folklore, urban legends, and cosmic horror into a high-energy spectacle that never slows down. In this series, you will be staring into the abyss of an entity so unnervingly grotesque it sends chills down your spine. Then, the next thing you know, you're laughing at a completely ridiculous, logic-defying being that feels like it was pulled straight out of an over-caffeinated fever dream. Dandadan doesn't just remix familiar myths, it mutates them into something fresh, chaotic, and thrillingly bizarre. Every encounter crackles with energy, flipping between eerie suspense, pulse-pounding action, and gut-busting comedy at a breakneck pace. It's a series where the unexpected isn't just a feature, it's the entire experience. No matter how familiar you think you are with supernatural stories, Dandadan will find a way to surprise you. Lovable and over-the-top characters. Dandadan is straight up unhinged in the best way possible, and it's all thanks to its absolute gremlin of a main duo. You've got Momo Ayase, the no-BS, justice-loving queen, and Okarun, the socially awkward but insanely passionate supernatural geek. Their entire friendship kicks off because they are beefing over whether ghosts or aliens are real. Then, that somehow spirals into some of the most chaotic, laugh-out-loud, and surprisingly wholesome moments in modern manga. Their dynamic? Pure gold. Momo's the cool, tough, big sis type, while Okarun is basically a human exclamation mark. Nervous, nerdy, and way too invested in all things spooky. Their constant back and forth is peak comedy, with misunderstandings, accidental tenderness, and enough snark to fuel a decade-long group chat. And don't even get me started on the side characters, absolute agents of chaos. Every new face just cranks the absurdity dial up to 11, whether they're ride-or-die homies or nightmare-fuel villains. But here's the real kicker. Dandadan somehow makes the supernatural both terrifying and hilarious at the same time. The facial expressions? Chef's kiss. The internal monologues? Unhinged. The sheer panic when things go south? Iconic. It's a masterclass in turning horror into comedy gold. And honestly, we're just lucky to be witnessing this level of greatness. Expressive and high-energy art. One of Dandadan's biggest flexes? Tatsu's absolutely cracked art style. This dude effortlessly juggles horror, comedy, and action, like he's got maxed out stats in all three. His ability to crank expressions and body language up to 100 doesn't just make characters feel alive. It dials every emotion to ungodly levels. Fear. Terrifying. Comedy. Straight up unhinged. Action. Pure adrenaline rush. Horror. Oh, it goes. Tatsu wants to traumatize the readers with nightmare fuel creature designs and unsettling close-ups that make you rethink reading this before bed. But then, boom, he hits you with the funniest, most over-the-top facial expressions that look like meme templates in the making. The way he does paneling and movement makes every fight feel like you're watching an anime in 4K. High-speed chases, supernatural smackdowns, and reality-bending battles. Everything is drawn with so much energy it practically jumps out of the page and slaps you. Tatsu doesn't just illustrate a story, he elevates it. Dandadan isn't just a manga, it's a whole experience, and trust me, you don't want to miss out. Fast-paced and no-filler storytelling. Manga fans stay beefing with slow pacing, dragged-out plots, and filler arcs that feel like side quests no one asked for. But Dandadan? Nah, this series got that gas, no brakes energy. Every chapter actually does something, keeping the story moving at full speed while serving up the perfect cocktail of chaos and unhinged brilliance. The pacing is truly a chef's kiss, like a flawless mix of wild action, emotional gut punches, and the kind of absurd comedy that makes you question reality. Horror and humor are balanced like a pro. 1 second, you're in a life-or-death ghost fight. The next, you're laughing at some WTF moment that hits out of nowhere. As you can see, Dandadan is straight up unhinged in the best way possible. It doesn't just accept its wild premise, it full-on embraces the chaos like a feral raccoon in a trash can. This series throws horror, comedy, and high-octane action into a blender, hits turbo mode, and yeets you into a non-stop roller coaster of what is even happening. 1 second, you're sweating from pure horror. The next, you're ugly laughing at something so ridiculous you have to reread it. The sheer unpredictability is so giving. If you want a story that refuses to be normal and fully commits to the madness, Dandadan isn't just a must-read. It smacks in ways you didn't even know you needed. So check it out now.